Have you ever wondered what exactly happens during the excavation phase of your new home build? Today we're digging into everything you need to know from start to finish. Welcome to our channel. We're here to help you build your dream home with confidence. Excavation might be the first time that you really see dirt flying on your building project, but it's more than just a hole in the ground. It's the foundation of your foundation. If it's not done properly, it could delay your build or even damage your future home. Excavation is risky business. That's why it's important to have a plan in place for what happens if an issue does arise. For example, what will you do if a worker is injured? Do you have the contact information for emergency services? The best way to prevent this is to install pumps to remove any standing water. If it rains heavily, it can make the ground unstable and increase the risk of a trench collapse. In this case, work will likely have to stop until the ground is dry and stable again. But if there's a light rain, work can usually continue as planned. Just make sure to take precautions like sloping the sides of the trench more steeply and securing the edges more tightly. And finally, one of the most common issues is excavating to the wrong depth. By understanding what happens during excavation, how long it takes, common issues, and how to avoid them, you can feel confident that your project is in good hands. That can happen when the plans aren't clear or the site isn't properly surveyed. To avoid this, make sure to get a copy of the plans and verify them on site before excavation begins. Knowing these things ahead of time can help keep everyone safe. Open trenches can collapse and soil can give way, exposing workers to serious injury or even death. First, hitting utility lines is always a risk during excavation, since they aren't always properly marked or located. That's why it's important to have a professional survey the site beforehand and clearly mark all the underground utilities so they can be avoided during excavation. This is called a pre-dig or pre-survey, and it's typically the excavator's responsibility to arrange for this. That's why it's important to know that manual labor is only part of the equation. Using heavy machinery like excavators and bulldozers is also dangerous. That's why workers must always wear appropriate PPE, slope the sides of the trench, and secure the edges to prevent collapse. They should also inspect the site regularly for any signs of instability. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on all things new home construction. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And if there's a heavy rainfall, work must stop until the ground is stable again. So let's break down what happens during excavation, how long it takes, common issues that come up, and how to avoid them. So once your permits are done and site mobilization is complete, excavation is next. This is when they'll clear the topsoil, dig the trenches for footings, and set the excavation levels based on your plans. A typical 2-story home might take 2 to 5 days to excavate the trenches depending on the weather. Add an extra 1 or 2 days for layout rechecks, which we'll talk about more in just a minute. Delays can also happen if equipment fails, or if there's a high water table in dewatering, which is removing excess water from the site isn't done properly. The excavation company will also over-excavate or cut below the planned footing depth to account for erosion, and make sure there is enough room for the concrete to be poured. They'll then compact the subgrade or the area where the concrete will sit before backfilling and final inspection. How long does it take? Now let's talk safety. Even with all those safety measures in place, excavation can still be unpredictable. We've covered the basics, but now let's look at some common issues that come up during excavation and how to avoid them. Another issue is water pooling inside the trenches, which can lead to erosion and instability. And remember, rain or snow can cause big problems during excavation. Excavation is a critical part of your build, but it doesn't have to be stressful. Want a full excavation checklist and safety guide? Download our free guide for homeowners below.